It's national meets regional. It's Sidewalks Entertainment. The long-running celebrity, music, and art series. Join us for a new path to arts and entertainment.
Our guest today has toured the world as a musician, a spoken word artist, a television host, and an actor. But his favorite role may be that of a traveler with an insatiable curiosity. To catch us up on his life and to tell us a little bit more about that, I'd like to welcome Henry Rollins to Sidewalks. Hello, Henry.
Good morning. Hey, how are you?
Gosh, it's so great to have you with us today.
Thanks.
So I know that you grew up on the East Coast. When you were a kid, did you have any ideas about what you thought you might want to be when you grew up? Was music kind of always a part of that equation?
Well, sadly, my answer will be a bit of a letdown. I thought my life would be endless minimum wage jobs with sore knees and swollen feet. And that's kind of what I went into after high school. I kind of just grimly took that on, figuring, well, this is going to hurt. And then I got a break. In 1981, I was able to audition for a band. I got the job. I went into music without anything to lose. And from there into film, television, and everything else. And that was about 33 years ago. But initially, I just thought it was just going to be working jobs in my hometown of Washington, D.C.
And that's a great hometown to be from, I'll tell you. Let's talk about the TV series that you host on H2 called 10 Things You Don't Know About. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what this concept is?
Well, we take large topics, like last season, Prohibition, presidential assassinations, the Founding Fathers. And this is well-treaded roads, but we find very, very small bits of history and kind of blow them up to full size. Like the one missing document, the one thing he said that was never written down properly. We find the expert or the historian or the actual document, and we shed light. And so this season is 10 episodes, things like Las Vegas, the Hoover Dam, marijuana, things like that. We did an episode on Texas, which is fascinating, one on money, one on the flag. And all of these stories have stories inside the stories. And this keeps us running around all over America, everywhere from battlefields to universities to museums, getting footage, talking to professors and historians. And it's 10 facts per show, 10 shows, 100 facts, 100 guests, 100 locations, and not a lot of sleep.
Oh my gosh. Boy, you really have been everywhere. Now, do you have a favorite place that you've visited so far?
As far as this season, perhaps the most beautiful place we were just gorgeous, was Mississippi. We were there for a few days. And filming in 95-degree humidity is not the best thing in the world as far as not wanting to fall over mid-shot. But as far as just a beautiful part of America, Mississippi is incredible.
Well, I know going through, you touched on a lot of different, parts of our country and topics and whatnot. But is there anything you've come across that's really shocked you that you never in a million years would have ever thought?
We did an episode on civil rights, which proved to be the most poignant and toughest episode because there's very little light or levity in that topic. It's tough, and it's a very unenviable bit of history in our wonderful America. And there's a real hero, a young girl named Claudette Colvin, who as a teenage girl refused to give up her seat on a bus 9 months before Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was the one who is famous or well known for doing this action. But it was Claudette Colvin who did it first as a high school student. And when the cops hauled her off the bus, they say, "Why won't you give up your seat?" And she said, "I learned this in school. This is my civil rights." So she was basically being a good 10th grader. And I did not know this story before I did my research for this season. And she was just an amazing American. And so I think she's my greatest hit of the entire season. She's my favorite.
Oh, that's great. It is really truly amazing the kinds of things you can uncover when you do a little research. And it sounds like this show is really well produced. Do you go out and how do you go about gathering the information that you're presenting on the show? Do
Well,
you do all that yourself? And
Oh, are you kidding? If I did all of it myself, we wouldn't have a show. No, we have a room full of fact finders who literally sit at desks all day burrowing. I'm just the guy who sells it to the camera. No, all of us at the end of the year, at the end of the season, we all start coming up with ideas for the next season to propose to the network. And so I proposed Hoover Dam and the history of marijuana and hemp to in America to the network, and they took those. And so I can come up with ideas, but as far as like the facts and the research and the locations, that's so not my department. You don't want that to be my department. Nothing would get done.
well, Henry, let's talk a little music. How were you first introduced to hardcore punk, and kind of what was the scene like when you first got into it?
Well, it was very small, and the labels, if there was a label, the records were made at home. You know, you'd press your 45 locally and often hand paste the picture sleeve yourself and run it down to the record store to be told, no. And so when I got into punk rock music or independent music, it was a scene that you could fit in the back of your small car. And those days are very fond in my memory because it was a scene that eventually exploded and became quite a big thing, that became an industry. But one of the advantages of being ancient, as I am, I can remember when things were kind of in their early days. And so getting to watch this thing grow was fascinating.
Well, how did your introduction to Black Flag happen?
They were friends of mine. I was a fan of theirs, and they needed a new singer. And they saw me sing with another band I was in, and they said, okay, this guy's a lunatic. And they called me. They said, hey, we're up in New York. I was in Washington. Would you like to come up here and audition? And I went, yeah, what do I have to lose? I'm working for $3.75 an hour at a job that in those days were fairly interchangeable. And so I took the Amtrak train to New York. I auditioned. I didn't know the lyrics really. I just yelled and screamed for about an hour and a half as they played. And they said, you have the job. Quit your job, pack your gear, and meet us on tour. Here's the tour itinerary. And about 5 sleepless days later, via Greyhound bus, which I still have the bus ticket for, I met them in Detroit. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Now, do you still keep in touch with any of your former bandmates?
Do I keep in touch with them?
Uh-huh.
Only through attorneys.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's sad. But I see them now and again. Yeah.
Now, what's the status with Rollins Band? Is there any chance of, getting this group back together and touring?
No. The day I stopped writing new lyrics, which was many years ago, I abandoned music pretty much immediately. If I can't keep it new and progressive, then I can't do it. And so the idea of going out and being a greatest hits machine, if you're a guy like me, there were no greatest hits, believe me. To go out and play your old material as the lines go deeper into your face, it is, for me, not interesting, not challenging, not brave, and not exciting. And so I prefer the deep and cold end of the pool to jump in as a novice swimmer and paddle crazily not to drown. And so I go into things I'm not qualified to do, like a TV show on the History Channel, and flail away. It keeps the blood thin and gets me up early in the morning. And that's why I stopped doing music. I don't hate music. I love it. If I can't do something new with it, then I don't want to do it at all.
That's fair. I give you that. Well, as we close, you have done so much. I mean, you've got a radio show, you've written 25 books, which people may not know. You've got a record label, you're a businessman. You've got your hands in so many things. Is there anything that you haven't done yet that you would still like to do, that's still kind of on the bucket list?
No. I mean, there's several countries I still want to get to. But the one thing I should do is the one thing I can't do, which is relax. And I'd probably be a bit better off if I did. My hair might be a few darker shades because I'm only 26 and look at me. But no,
Henry, you still have it. Come on now.
Thank you. But I'm unable to sit still, really. And so perhaps that would be something to check off the list one fine day. But so far, I can't do it.
Henry, it was such a pleasure to visit with you today. I really wish you all the best. Thanks so much for being with us on Sidewalks.
Thank you very much.
For more full-length celebrity interviews, visit sidewalkstv.com.